We launched our Curzio Equity Owners Token about 6 months ago called CEO Token. Gave investors an equity stake in Curzio Research. And since we launched, because the company we use to help launch the token does a lot of the back office stuff, creates a token, they're called Securitize. They published a press release saying that we're the 10th company to successfully launch a token on their platform. So when they sent out this, they sent out basically on AP wires, it really had an amazing effect on our business. And the response has been unbelievable. And Securitize actually is using our token as a case study on their website, meaning that anyone looking to launch a security token through Securitize and basically offer an equity stake is going to see our company and exactly how we did it. And it's pretty cool that they chose us. And I know why they chose us, because a lot of people that are launching are usually startup companies, and they're going to take all this money and they're going to say, okay, this is what we're going to do, right? We're doing it, right? We have an existing company. We have a brand. We have a good management team. We're generating money. So it puts us ahead of a lot of other companies that, will pick whatever. We're into cloud. We're into whatever it is, this massive market that they could scale. But yet in reality, it never really works out that way. So the fact that we have an existing company where we really could have chose to raise money so many different ways, and we chose this platform, it just adds credibility to it. And it's given us a ton of attention, because Securitize is really blowing up right now with investments from Ripple, Coinbase, BitGo. They're getting the premier company now. They're the premier company in this space. And they also have partnerships with T0, Open Finance, SharePost. So it allows us to really have great contacts with these people as well. And we're starting to see lots of companies reach out to us. It's basically launching their own security tokens, which is really cool. And even the top companies in the security token industry are reaching out with us to do deals. So that was something I didn't anticipate launching this, which is pretty amazing. But if you're looking at this industry and how much it's grown, especially since I came up with the idea of launching our token probably about 18 months ago, when I first was thinking about it, I was like, whoa, you don't know if you're going to be an idiot or a genius. You're not too sure. Now they say, oh, you're a pioneer. It's not pioneer. It's just seeing an idea that I thought I really believed in. And just to see the growth in this industry, it's incredible. Next year, security tokens are going to debut in Japan. You have their largest brokerage firms, Nomura, Daiwa, Keibu. They're taking part in the launch, which is going to focus basically on tokenizing real estate. And what does that actually mean when we say tokenize? And please stay with me here. It's very, very important, guys. I'm going to try to make you a ton of money. When you tokenize an asset, it's basically selling off a piece of it to investors. That's all it is. And if you look at an IPO, that's what an IPO is, right? They're selling whatever, 10%, 15%, 20% to the market, and they still own all those shares. And based on that 20% of how it trades on New York Stock Exchange and NASDAQ determines the full value of the company. It's the same thing here. But why does it make sense for bond offerings? Why does it make sense for real estate? Is because these are illiquid assets. For example, let's say if you own a $10 million property. You're sitting on it. Yeah, you can collect rents or whatever it is. But you really can't unlock the value of that, right? It's an illiquid asset unless you sell the entire property. But maybe you don't want to sell the entire property. Maybe you just want to spin off 20%. You spin off 20% to new investors through a security token. Again, similar to a traditional IPO where companies are selling a piece of their company. And you would generate $2 million, again, using simple numbers here, which is a good thing for you because you're liquid now. You just got $2 million. And investors, they're happy. They own a piece of, prime real estate. Will likely get paid a dividend on that investment. And the value of that real estate will be determined through the token, right? Which is going to trade on exchanges, and a ton of these exchanges are being launched now. World Chess, which broadcast the World Chess Championships. Chess is making a massive comeback. Both of my daughters are in chess classes. I mean, it's amazing how many people are playing chess these days, which is great because I learned to play chess at a very early age. And it was a good 25 years went by when I didn't play. Now, at least in my neighborhood, kids are playing. I'm seeing TV programs all the time about chess. It's making a massive comeback. But World Chess, they're the ones that broadcast the World Chess Championships on TV. And they're announcing a hybrid IPO. So it's going to be a security token combined with a traditional IPO later on. So the security token comes first, where credit investors can transition their tokens or their investment into shares when the company does IPO, or they can sell those tokens to other credit investors. You look at Thailand is launching the first Thai cultural theme park. So the company behind it is called Via East West Capital. They're launching a security token to fund it. Europe suddenly has become the leader in security token offerings. 88 launched this year. That compares to 83 in the US. I know what you're thinking. Frank, that's a really small number. It's small now. In 3 years, these numbers are going to be in the thousands. When you see, 3 or 4 people, 10, 12, no. It's getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Chin Group is using a company Uprets, as UPRETS, so the Chinese-backed tokenization platform, to launch its own security token. So here's a company that owns several condominiums in Brooklyn, New York, and I know exactly where these are. I mean, this neighborhood you couldn't even walk in 15 years ago, and now it's, you're paying $3,000, $2,500 for a 1-bedroom, not even a 1-bedroom, probably a studio. That's how amazing and how beautiful Brooklyn has become, where it used to be, there was some areas that were pretty crazy there. Now it's, hey, you can't afford Manhattan, go to Brooklyn, and then you can go to Queens, and then you can go to Staten Island, wherever you want. But man, has the last 15 years, the valuations of Brooklyn, unbelievable how much they skyrocketed. So basically with this, you would sign up for the token offering for this company. And what they do is they do the KYC, know your customer, AML process, which a typical brokerage firm does, right? You just don't know that. They do that behind the scenes. And then once that's okay, you can select actually which property you want to invest in. So it's not just a full investment. I think they own 4 sets of condominiums. And you can look at these properties as different styles, expectate whatever you want to do. You'll earn a dividend. You'll receive cash dividends generated from the rental income that's coming in. And then you could actually trade the token. So you could trade it on the exchange platform, and you're going to benefit if the value of that property increases going forward, just like you would do with any investment, right? Microsoft, Amazon, as they grow, the stock price gets higher and you benefit. Now, these are just a few of hundreds of examples of how companies are turning to the security token market to raise cash and grow their companies. And trust me on this, it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Now, why am I so excited about this? Because I looked at it when I launched this token. And please stay with me. Please stay with me. Okay. I know it's tough. I'm going to cover this in a minute, where when you're learning something new, people, they want to learn things after, right? You want to learn about marijuana when everyone's talking about marijuana. This is a chance to learn about marijuana. Yes, I'm using an analogy before it's approved. Before, while Colorado is just about to approve it, which is the first state. That's where you're investing in the security token industry right now. Because when I looked at this and I looked at the investment banking industry, it's one of the only sectors I know that's not been disrupted by technology. And talking about the investment part, right? Not the trading part of the investment banking, right? Where algos account for 80% of volatility in the markets. And if you read my last issue, I wrote about it a couple issues ago. My CVO issue is coming out Wednesday. I'm talking about it again, how algos are pushing these stocks all over the place, where they should be down 10% on earnings and they're going down 20, 25%. And same thing when, they report positive earnings, it should go up 5, 7%. They're going up 20, 30%. It's insane with all these program tradings, computerized trading. Anyway, but when it comes to just the traditional investment banking, it hasn't been disrupted. And you're looking at security tokens, right? A cheaper way of financing a company where fees are much less than paying an investment bank. You can go directly from my business to the consumer without having the investment bank, which what do they do anyway, right? At this part of the stage, they're middlemen. They know a lot of people with money who have accounts with them, and they say, hey, here's a company we like. Here you go. Pay us. Imagine if you didn't need the middleman. You just went straight to those people. That's what this offers. That's why it's a big threat. That's why so many of these firms are dying to get into this industry and want it regulated. They need to get into this industry because it is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. It just makes sense. Because the investment banks, what happens, they get at least a 6% fee on the money they raise, sometimes up to 10%. And they often ask for free stock or a percentage of the float for themselves, which they're probably going to dump at the wrong time in the market and crush the stock. They don't care. It's all about fees. Then what about the customer? What about you? I mean, it allows you to invest in liquid assets like real estate, fine art, collectibles. Like a small financial newsletter published, it's on the brink of disrupting a $3 billion industry, which is Curzio Research, if you didn't figure that out. So not only can you invest in these companies, and by invest, I'm talking about getting an equity stake. I'm not talking about crowdfunding. Crowdfunding should be illegal. It's a joke. Outside of raising money for an individual, a family, a cause, I get it. Someone in need, I get it. But for entrepreneurs using this platform, it's a joke. It's like a scam. And that's what crowdfunding is. It's basically saying, hey, please fund my company. And in return, I'm going to give you a few products and services, and early access to these products and services, once we get up and running. Really? How about I don't fund you and just buy your product in the market when, or should I say, if, right? It's more like it, you're able to bring the product to the market. I mean, you're looking at crowdfunding, it plays on the stupidity of people. And I feel bad. I don't mean it. Whatever, take that how you are and send me an email, frank@curzioresearch.com, but it's true. And a good example of this is Oculus Rift, right? Virtual reality company you all heard of. It was bought by Facebook for $2 billion. Oculus was on Kickstarter, one of the largest crowdfunding platforms. And people invest. I know people email me about this because once Facebook took them over, they were like, holy cow, Frank, I think I just made a lot of money. I got like 3-4 emails. Like, this is amazing. And then all of them followed up and said, wow, I didn't get anything. Well, now you know. With crowdfunding, they're not giving away equities, entrepreneurs. They're like, hey, just keep giving me money. You like this product? Yeah, hey, I'll give you the first one. I mean, it's insane. And it's funny because when I go to Consumer Electronics Show, what's going to happen? There's a massive, massive platform now for new companies. They dedicated a whole floor to it in the sands. The whole bottom floor to new companies looking for funding, and then Kickstarter's there and all the other crowdfunding platforms. I questioned them last year because I'm launching a security token, right? We just talking about that last year. And I said, do you guys offer equity? No, we're not allowed to. We were going to, but no. I said, so basically, if I want to invest in any of these companies, right, because they want all these startups to go on their platforms, hey, it's the best thing in the world. You don't have to give away equity, and big deal. I got to give away the price. Someone's going to give me 10 grand. I got to give them a $3,000 product worth $3,000, and you have access to my products and services on the side. Are you kidding me? Come on. I mean, that's really what the ICO market is. The ICO, you don't get any equity, right? These are utility tokens, utilities, which you can only use for this site, which 90% of these companies don't even have an up and running site. They're not generating a penny of revenue. You can't even use it for anything. And yeah, they can manipulate the value of their token, right, and go higher over a short period. At least you have, not the token, but the coin. At least you have a coin that you could, go on an exchange and buy. But a lot of this is just that's why everything's turning to the security token market. This whole industry, if you're looking at crowdfunding, looking at ICOs, they're all turning to the security token market. And why not offer equity? It's going to increase the value of your company 5x, 10x. I mean, right now you're looking at the average private company trades around 4 or 5 times earnings. And you guys know what the average public company trades for. It's around 17 times forward earnings. So if you go public, where's your valuation going to go? What an average multiple? Goes a lot higher. So what's the difference? You're going to make more money by giving away equity because your company's going to be valued more. But finally, people are understanding this. Anyway, with security tokens, tokenization, we raised $7 million in the summer. Now investors will be able to trade this token 1 year later, which is around July when we go free trading. And that's a big deal. To me, that's the game changer. I mean, imagine investing in a private company, which we could have did because, hey, there's a private offering. You're locked up for an average of 7 to 10 years. I mean, how do you sell that, which is called a liquidity period? Well, you better hope we get taken over or we do a traditional IPO, which most companies don't do. So you're going to be locked up with that money forever. Now, say if our company or a company or industry goes to shit in like 3 years, like 3D printing, right? It was the biggest thing in the world. Now, it's not really going to consumer level. Should have seen that at Consumer Electronics Show. They had like 50 companies there. It was like 100. It started out like 30, then it was like 100, then it was like 200 or whatever. Now it's very small area. But say if that happens, you're done. You can't get out of your investment. It's gone. And with our token, the CEO token, you could sell it after 12 months if you want. Of course, we don't want you to. We plan on growing this company forever. But that's a huge advantage to investors. So when I look at this industry, it's like I see like an empty canvas where there's millions of things I could draw. In that analogy, I mean, there's so many growth opportunities right now. I mean, you're going to see more security token exchanges get launched. More and more companies are launching their own tokens, not just in the U.S., but international. I mean, the growth is exploding. As mentioned earlier, compared to 18 months ago. I mean, you could have different services you're providing. You could be consultants in this industry. I mean, for us, there's almost anywhere we can go right now. It's like, the New York Stock Exchange, over 100 years old, but 50 years ago, it's really started taking off. The S&P 500 became 500 companies. A lot of companies been going on the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, Goldman Sachs had their shot to do anything how do we position ourselves perfect to make the most money? That's where I feel like Curzio Research is right now. And what's great is the institutions are on the sidelines waiting to come in. So we have a jump start on a lot of them. But it's pretty incredible where this is an industry for the first time, I shouldn't say for the first, maybe the first time in 15 years, that you can truly invest in companies during their very early stages of growth. It's not like Uber, Lyft, Dropbox, Slack, Pinterest, keep going. And so many of these technology companies, they've come out by the time they IPO, multi-billion-dollar valuations, and most of the growth is gone. And when you're looking at these companies, that's the only time most investors can invest in these names is when they come out on public exchanges. They go publicly traded. Unless you're hanging out with Peter Thiel or working at Google Ventures. But I want you to educate yourself on this market. I know some of you are not interested at all. That's usually the case when anyone has to learn something new. I get it. I understand. It's not easy. But don't be stupid. Because learning about this industry now is going to put you in a great position to invest in a lot of early stage companies.